Well, let's start with the Kiwisaver hardship withdrawals, because I feel like every month there's now an article about how it's at a record high and it's bigger than last month, and last month was bigger than last month, and it continues to climb. So I guess my first question was, do you think part of it is that more people now are seeing their Kiwisaver as a lever that they could pull and are learning about it, and so therefore thinking maybe I'll use that as a withdrawal? Or is it genuinely we're just that, we're in a tough economy and people are needing it?
Look, it's a mixture of both. And certainly you're correct that people have said, oh gosh, I can see that as a way of getting out. So we will often have people approach us and saying, okay, sit down. Now, what can we do for you today? I want a Kiwisaver hardship. Oh, okay. Well, let's stop there.
Yeah.
All right. Before we jump to what we might call a solution, let's kind of work out what the problem is first. So let's go through let's start from scratch. Let's start by let's understand all your debts. Let's understand your budget. Let's work out where we sit. Do we have a budget which is in surplus? Likely not. Do we have a budget in deficit? Yes. What are your loan situations? I always say to people, the Kiwisaver hardship is your second to last option that we will ever look at. And the last option is insolvency, and hopefully we're not here to talk about that.
Yes.
So, but also we're not here to just default to Kiwisaver hardship, because you're going to need that. You're going to need Kiwisaver when you retire. So let's not go into there, because you try and live on a pension.
Yeah.
When you're finished, it's not enough to live on. So let's work out what other methods we might have to be able to assist you in your situation. Okay, we might have a budget deficit, spending more than we're earning. We might have loans that typically are in arrears. Okay, but first of all, let's look at the levers that we have. Can we talk to? So if you've got a series of lenders, and there'll be could be 3, 4, 5, 6 different creditors stroke lenders there. Can we work things out with those creditors so that we can get your budget back balancing, so that we don't have to go into Kiwisaver? If you're in genuine hardship, then all lenders have to have hardship protocols. In other words, look, I've lost my job, I've got sick, those sorts of things. Every registered lender has to have a hardship protocol to say, yes, I'm in genuine hardship. We are in need of a restructure of your facilities. It might be suspension of repayments. It may be reducing the number of, or the amount of each repayment, but extending the term of the loan. There could be any number of things that we can do to work with lenders to reduce the strain on the finances. And they're all directed to do that. And most lenders are very happy to work. They understand that people fall into difficulties and they do want to work with them. So we'll work through things like that before we jump into, Kiwisaver hardship withdrawals.
What happens? So does some people hear that and go, oh, I wanted my money, that's my money, I don't like your answer, that sounds too hard, and do they kind of go, I'm going to go ask someone else?
Well, they can, but at the end of the day, they'll possibly be refused by their Kiwisaver provider in terms of being able to make a withdrawal. The rules around Kiwisaver are quite strict. They have allowed it for, obviously you can get it here for your first home, and you can get it for hardship. But again, this is not the hardship. You have to work through the things. It has to be a genuine hardship. And they'll be wanting to see, and typically they will have directed someone to have gone and seen a financial mentor, so that the financial mentor has done the work. They'll be still checking the work that's done. Gotcha. To make sure that, have we got genuine hardship here? Is it someone that's just, we'll call it, might be living too lavish a lifestyle? That I have to say it's very rare that is the case. Have we exhausted all other avenues? And in fact, if you read the Kiwisaver applications, it virtually says, have you exhausted all other avenues? Have you been to Work and Income and asked, and can I get something from you? And this might be somebody who's not a beneficiary. Yeah. You say, well, I'm over the income threshold. You say, yeah, okay, but you've got to produce a letter from Work and Income to say that you're not eligible for any form of assistance from them. You probably even have to get letters from, or we've tried to do the work through with the creditors to try and see if we can get some assistance via hardship. That may or may not be available, but you've actually got to have exhausted all other avenues before you are then eligible for hardship withdrawal.
So the ones that you've seen, what's typical of the profile or the situation that's happened for these people to need to access it?
Look, cost of living's has been a big one where there haven't been any increases in the wages and salaries. The costs have gone up, and again, probably also a mix of having taken on a bit too much debt as well. So the debt repayment obligations are pretty onerous.
Yeah.
So it's often a combination of things, and I've mentioned before, people with mortgages now coming to, because of the factors that the repayments on the mortgages have gone up, considerably. So they've fallen into a deficit. Now, when it comes to a mortgage, the bank should be working pretty closely with people with mortgages, and it's I'd almost be saying it's illegal for a bank to sort of say, right, you nudge, wink, wink, you better go off and get a Kiwisaver hardship. No, you've got to work through the things through with your client first before Kiwisaver hardship becomes a thing. But we do end up with people that have got arrears, and of course, when you're in arrears and they're looking to sell your house or sell your car, that's when people will typically be, and it's often a combination of arrears, and then we've done a budget. We're saying, and we actually do have a genuine weekly deficit in your budget. So we will try and, when I say avoid, we're saying we'll look at all other avenues first before we say, yep, you're definitely a Kiwisaver hardship candidate, and yes, and let's try and work things through with that.